Good morning, it's Pete. Peace and blessings. How's everybody doing this morning? Uh, we're going to be discussing Jesus' wife, um, which is out there rumoring and circulating that he had a wife, and her name is Mary Magdalene. Um, so we're going to be discussing that rumor and false testimony. What we're going to do is we're going to start at John. That's Big John, not First John, Second John, or Third John. It's in the Gospel, the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We're going to start with John chapter 13, verses 22 through 26. And this is at the Last Supper, which is in question, about that disciple whom Jesus loved laying on his breast or his bosom. Um, and what is taking place here is Jesus is talking about the one that's going to betray him. And Peter is asking, trying to find out who it is. So we're going to start right here at verse 22. Then the disciples looked one on another, doubting of whom he spoke. Now there was leaning on Jesus' bosom one of his disciples, whom Jesus loved. That's the reference that they're using to Mary Magdalene. Simon Peter, therefore, beckoned unto him, that he should ask who it should be of whom he spoke. So right there, Simon Peter is asking the one who's laying on his breast to ask Jesus who it is that's going to betray him. In verse 25, he then laying on Jesus' breast saith unto him, Lord, who is it? So this is where the person who was laying on the breast asked Jesus, who is it? And in verse 26, Jesus answered, he it is to whom I shall give a sop, when I have dipped it. And when he had dipped the sop, he gave it to Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon. So there's the reference to the one laying on Jesus' breast. Not Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon, but that disciple whom Jesus loved. And if you'll notice in 24, Peter therefore beckoned unto him. Him. It's a man. It's not a woman. So now if we go to John 20, verse 1 through 4. All right. Now this is when Mary Magdalene comes to the sepulchre after Jesus has been crucified and finds that his body's not there. And this is what takes place. So John 20, verse 1 through 4. The first day of the week cometh, Mary Magdalene early, there's the reference to her, when it was yet dark unto the sepulchre, and seeth the stone taken away from the sepulchre. Then she runneth, that's a female, talking about Mary Magdalene, and cometh to Simon Peter, and to the other disciple. That's the reference. Okay, so there's two separate people we're talking about here. And then it says, whom Jesus loved. So she runneth and cometh to Simon Peter and to the other disciple whom Jesus loved. So unless she came running to herself, it's not referencing Mary Magdalene, it's referencing another disciple. And saith unto them, they have taken away the Lord out of the sepulchre, and we know not where they have laid him. Peter therefore went forth, and that other disciple, and came to the sepulchre. So they ran both together, and the other disciple did outrun Peter and came first to the sepulchre. Okay. Now let's go to John 21, verse 20 through 21. This is after the resurrection and after them communicating with him and talking with him. And this is the end, and they're walking off. He's walking off with Peter. Then Peter, turning about, seeth the disciple whom Jesus loved following. So, making a reference to him, this guy's like kind of in tow behind Peter and Jesus walking off. So, then Peter, turning about, seeth the disciple whom Jesus loved following, which also leaned on his breast at supper, and said, Lord, which is he that betrayeth thee? So he's making a reference back to the Last Supper, letting you know that the one that's following is the same one that was leaning on his breast and asked Jesus, who is it that's going to betray you? So verse 21, Peter seeing him saith to Jesus, Lord, and what shall this man do? So he's making a reference. It's a man. It's not Mary Magdalene. It's not a woman. So just keep that in mind. And please read these scriptures. Don't trust everything you see on YouTube. If they're not backing it up with the scripture, you got to read the scriptures yourself. You got to fact check everything when it comes to people quoting scripture and trying to, especially when they're trying to get views and likes and Hollywood. So keep that in mind. And just remember, Jesus was not married to Mary Magdalene. That's not why he was here. Mary Magdalene was one of his disciples. She wasn't an apostle, but she was one of his disciples. Y'all have a good day, and I hope this helped. Thanks. Bye.